Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we met three new characters. Dr. Courtney Scythe, a coroner, her daughter, who is yet unnamed, but very eager to follow in her mother's footsteps, and Toby, who is the best boy. We also learned that Tobias Gregson is heading over to France, and bringing his assistant, Gina Lestrade, with him, so we might have to say goodbye to them after this case is done and over with. But yes, this case, we're still investigating in the second round of investigations. Oh, for the love of... I'm recording a video over here. Shut up, phone. I'm only like 1 minute in. I probably could just restart. Screw it, we do it live. Anyway, now it's time to talk to Van Zeek, so let's do that. Least approachable man in the world winner, 10 years in a row. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistant stand firm behind you. Yeah, between videos, I thought it was high time that we changed Susato's clothes. Gosh, it's such a busy design, but hey, it's cohesive now, I guess. Lord Van Zeek's. What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is... Lord Chief Justice Stronhart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zeek's about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. Oh, we can't show him stuff? That's sad. Remember what I said last time? I was hoping that Ryunosuke wouldn't be so socially inept as to just, hey, tell me about your dead bro. Come on. No, we'll save that for last. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Hairbrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So I was just wondering. I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but... We'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. Oh, 10 years? That's interesting. Also, wow. Yeah, that's actually kind of exactly what I pictured in my mind. Gaunt, concave cheeks, long white hair. Yeah, that's actually exactly what I pictured. Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. Photograph of Drebber has been entered into the court record. Neat. Okay. I feel like I'm about to pour salt on an open wound. So, Clint was the name of your older brother, I understand, Lord Van Zieks. You Nipponese. Oh, I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then? Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? You're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that comes to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Two-Spells Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course, the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom. A particular waxwork? Wait, you mean? Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Oh, hello. Hello, good friend. You better have a damned good reason for doing this to Ryunosuke and Susato. It's mean. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Oh, she sees it too. Are you all right? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Oh. Kazuma-sama! Oh, she shouted it out! Oh, please just take that mask and hood off right now. Oh, that'd be so good. Kazuma? Oh, no. I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence, it can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? It's him. It has to be. I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure, as if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait! Oh, too late. What's going on here? Yeah, we should probably tell him. What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. Damn it. Ah! Fine. Okay. Maybe they can make an amnesia plot cool. But if it's true that he has amnesia... You know what? No, I don't buy for a second that the masked man has amnesia. No, I think he's putting on an act. I think that's the cover story that Kazuma and Strongheart had worked out. Because if the fellow was actually suffering from amnesia, in all honesty, he'd probably be desperate to remember who the hell he was. And so you suddenly have two strangers call out a name at you, thinking they recognize you. Wouldn't you flip out and be like, oh my god, do you know me? Do you know me? No. I don't buy it. I don't think it's amnesia, actually. But we'll see. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia? Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders. Oh, that's gonna be spicy. He'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Zieg's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. Well, that's our next destination settled. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Miss Usato. Of course. Oh, hi, Gina. Anything new? Oh. No, it's the same thing I missed. The transition. Ah! Oh, well. Let's get a move on. Maybe two spells secured the wax statue, paid the ransom, and we can see the professor. I see the snoozing guard is gone.
Oh my! No wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I'd like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery.
Confectionery? That sounds like a mode of transportation you'd find in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. The hell's a confectionery? Being scared makes you crave sweets. I can understand that. Oh, I was right. What? Via the... Maybe it's a special cart that sells sweets as you go.
I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but... there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere.
That's strange. He should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well, I suppose we'll just have to come back again later. Really? I guess we'd have to... Yeah, no one's here. Nothing to look at, but... I guess we'd have to, talk to Hairbrain first, maybe. I'm tempted to look at all this and get Susato's reaction, but... I was gonna do that next time we came here for actual business, but... No, let's just get it done now.
Oh, what a horrifying scene! A murderer caught in the grisly act.
I know. And in case you were wondering, it's the one with the big knife that's supposed to be the killer.
I don't think anybody would be in any doubt about that, Shirley.
How long have you known Herlock Sholmes? And did you know that according to the description, the bathtub at the back has no particular significance?
What? Really? I would have thought it was meant to show that the killer also worked in a bathhouse peddling criminal wares.
Aha! We have a new theory. Ah, yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you?
The sign says it's the Madame Two-Spell special exhibit. It seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Pay more money, as if we haven't been scared enough already.
It's not my doing, Mr. Naruhodo.
That old policeman isn't here now, obviously. I still can't believe it. He just happened to be on the jury, though.
I'd understood that London has a population of 6 million people, and yet... you do seem to run into the same people disproportionately often, don't you?
Yes, just to not put too much strain on the art team. Yeah.
This one's posture reveals his weakness.
Sorry?
The killer's stance leaves him wide open to attack. I'm quite sure I could see him off. With a Susato takedown, then a Susato squash, and finally a Susato smash.
Right.
And if that doesn't render the culprit unconscious, a Susato slam should finish him, from the top rope.
A Susato slam?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's rather hard to explain. Leave yourself open slightly and I'll demonstrate.
Absolutely not!
Ah, there's a stepladder there, look.
Oh, yes, a stepladder.
I think perhaps we should let the proprietress know that someone's left it out. The stepladder, I mean. Is something wrong?
Why do I feel as though I just managed to sidestep an argument? Oh, this is stupidest, dumbest running joke, but it never fails to make me so happy. Right, Hairbrain.
Oh,
So nice of the guards to give him some chalk. What's he doing?
He's... Oh my, the whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations.
And he's still writing more now. Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady?
My name is Susato Mikotoba. I am Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all.
Oh, dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upsets you.
I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh, no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Hairbrain, what have you been working on? Oh, that's Susato.
What have you been working on in your cell?
Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had at hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually. This is my autobiography.
Your autobiography?
How I Was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Hairbrain. Are we sure that's the right genre of book? I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations.
Really?
I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, An Odd Birth and Odd Upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them. By Asman and that aloof engineer Drebber. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Well, first order of business, new stuff to show 'em. What do you think about, Andrew? Professor, do you recognize this?
Oh, it's Andrew, my faithful friend. How have you been? Are you all right?
Nobody's mistreated you, have they? Don't worry, he's being very well looked after. I always rub him with machine oil until he's gleaming. Right. And then, when I come to tighten a screw with him, he slips in my hand and I can't do it. It's that age-old problem faced by driver files the world over, isn't it? I really wouldn't know, I'm afraid. What do you think about the balloon being shot down? Professor Hairbrain, what do you make of this?
Oh, yes, that's just what we need to prove my hypothesis, isn't it?
No, it's nothing to do with your hypothesis, actually.
Then take it away. I don't want to be bothered with anything that doesn't assist my science.
Alright, keep your abundant hair on. The cage. No, nothing about the cage, okay. How about the photo of Drebber? Professor Hairbrain, what do you make of... Oh, nothing, okay. And for good measure, just to make sure, the armband. Oh, okay. Already showed him that. That's why the game's letting you skip past it. Let's talk. Everything I believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Asman, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barak did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think that was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No, Barak wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barak, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Barak insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Anyway, about Mr. Asman. Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say that does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so emphatic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. But the scale of it, it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. Surely, pennies, American, whatever.
To go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe.
It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer.
Mr. Enoch Drebber.
What do you know about him? Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler?
It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the kinesis machine.
But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist.
Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist.
What do you mean?
He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation.
I see.
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts?
I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the kinesis machine, nothing else.
Although, just once, I did visit his workshop.
Thank you. What workshop?
Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine. Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Drebber's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there.
So you've been to Drebber's place of work then?
Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct the kinesis machine, you see.
Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there.
Well, yes, definitely, I'm sure. As in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm so sorry.
I was more than half expecting that.
You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage the entire way there.
Of course you were. He blindfolded you. He wasn't taking any chances then.
The place was incredible, the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best, a special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formulae and use that instead.
What do you think, Miss Susato? You the machine for your next birthday?
I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card for Mr. Drebber, for example?
The man was clearly very cautious, Mrs.
Aha! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look. What? Let me see that.
Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you?
Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address.
No. Oh well. Can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. We need to take a look. Oh. This dark smudge here.
I think perhaps it's machine oil.
Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Hairbrain mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drubber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high-quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. I have an idea. Get Herlock to make some sort of mixture that reacts to this oil specifically and makes it glow. Then just patrol the streets looking for a trail and follow the trail. Assuming it would be left behind by cars as it went. Or carriages, maybe? I don't know if automobiles exist yet.
Yes, that's right, but more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So
Oh. Toby!
Excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all.
Don't worry, I expect that's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Toby. 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 Oh. Can I actually see this? Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be playing with me new friend here.
Yes, Toby. Bork. Apparently we can't look around on the stage now because the forensic investigation team are at work. Can you do anything, Gina? In your capacity as Inspector Lestrade?
Look, I'd like to help you out. But I'm just a trainee, ain't I? Ain't nothing I can do.
When it suits you, yes. Toby, 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 Toby. About this, Gina.
Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment.
Oh my god.
I only know A to E, so if it ain't too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. Huh? How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out that this is very high-quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff, then. You sure? I don't smell nothing.
No, we didn't mean that you should smell it.
Oh, right. You mean Toby.
Toby, Toby, yeah! Bork. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can he?
Professor Hairbrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drubber's workshop.
Sniff. Sniff, sniff. Sniff, sniff. Snoof. Bork. I think he's picked up a scent.
So you mean, if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy cove's workshop? That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that.
What? Oh, wait, when did you... What's a pickpocket?
If I can lead everyone to that Drubber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted.
Poor Gregson.
Right then, Otto, leave it to me.
Sorry?
We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time.
I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina.
Oh, Oh, right. Oh, well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck. It'll be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Get that oil scent, have ya? Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop.
Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber.
I'm sure that Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss, and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months.
Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We ought to find him at Madame Two-Spell's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit.
Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
Now it's time. Let's go.
Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course.
Susato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she?
Eek! What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes down to the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry, I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself.
Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh, yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
I must say I am quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean...
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties? Alors, do not disturb, huh?
Poor Susato-san, she looks very perplexed. Well, I want to see the professor. Guess we'll have to talk to Sholmes.
We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. But where is he?
I think you might find that he is quite nearby, actually.
Oh, what do you...
Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Herlock Sholmes. Susato-san! Susato-san! My most humble apologies.
I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment, via London.
My dear madame, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not a questionable street food quality.
I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes?
Merely a secret identity, you understand. Though the case is largely solved now. Largely?
Largely solved?
We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today, for that matter. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Well, do remember I said it was largely solved? Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone?
Oh, yes. It's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as yet.
This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned.
That's amazing.
Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event.
Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no?
Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. Oh.
But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary?
A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Two Spells at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return at Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yes. Do I have anything to show him? Have you seen this man? Mr. Sholmes, about this? No. Very well. Let's just talk. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh?
Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Hairbrain and the engineer who built the kinesis machine.
A swindler and an engineer. Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts, too, with considerable knowledge of stage music. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on, that's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least, I may be in a better position to help. Oh, well, okay. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Okay. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print?
It's of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek.
Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course. So looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you all right, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting this, very interesting indeed. Oh, what is he hiding?
What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden.
Okay. Okay, spill the beans, you big fat liar. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, stay that piercing stare. What is this about?
Last winter, when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship, your words were very clear.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder.
You told us that it was a murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body.
Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asogi. You're quite sure?
He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead.
Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Ha 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 ha. Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that the crewmen present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned. And I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh, yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it for a mere 5 shillings? That's a special one-time only price, you understand. The nerve of this man.
What?
The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor?
Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone?
The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point.
Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings.
Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure.
Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit.
This better be good. Through those heavy curtains at last. Right, so... I think I said this earlier, but there must be a reason that the appearance of the professor was kept a secret from us. And indeed, it's kind of the same logic I used to help suss out who that masked man was. If a piece of media hides the appearance of someone, it's more than likely because the audience would recognize them from previously. So, with that in mind, who is the professor gonna be? I'm kind of tossed up between Enoch Drebber and Odie Asman. I know they said the professor was hanged 10 years ago, but you never know. $5 we've had to pay. It doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it?
No. We could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills.
Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors.
Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say. God, I could really go for some battered fish. The special exhibit. Oh, come on!
Oh, dear. I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
So, number 139. I wonder if that actually means something. God, that could be anyone. Ugh. Miss Susato, I say we turn on our heels and go straight home via a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We've paid $5 already.
True. Actually, I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place.
This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved.
Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we've paid $5, let's do $5 worth of investigation, shall we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration? That's making Susato-san's voice tremble. Man, Sholmes is coming off as such an asshole right now. Which means I think the threat of the conspiracy that he's trying to so desperately quash any digging up of terrifies the hells out of him. If Kazuma's going to be in court on the side of the prosecution, that's gonna be amazing. Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna have a large active role, actually. He doesn't speak much. He must be there for a reason, but I guess only time will tell. God, if he really does have amnesia, which I'm pretty damn sure he does not, then maybe seeing Ryunosuke in action will jog the old brain fluids. this figure on the left, by the way, the white lab coat and especially the pinstripe pants, that reminds me a lot of Professor Scythe, or Dr. Scythe. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if Dr. Scythe has some relation to the Legend of the Reaper, because what is a Reaper without their scythe, you know? There's gotta be a tie there, some sort of connection. Who knows, maybe Dr. Scythe is the real Reaper of the Bailey. It's not Clint's ghost, it's the coroner. I don't know. Probably not. Well, I guess we'll do all the investigating we can here, maybe have another chat with Madame Two Spells on our way out, and hopefully by then Toby will have turned up a lead. I could see it going either way. Maybe we could get to Drebber's factory and investigate it ourselves, or the police could take the whole reins and we'll just have to pick up some scraps of evidence that are handed to us in court tomorrow. Either way, I think the investigation phase for this case is definitely drawing to a close. And then it'll be back in court, and that'll be where we finish this case, presumably. And after that, God, we're only going to have the 4th and 5th cases left. Oh man, we're in like the middle of part 70s, in the 70s range. This Let's Play has been going on for so goddamn long. I tell you, I am aching to play something new after this. So yeah, again, the collection, the Ace Attorney 4, 5, and 6 collection comes out January 24th, and this video should go live on December 11th, maybe, I think. Odds are I'll be finishing this game up just in time for its release, but no, I'm not playing that. I'm not playing the collection of 5 and 6 just yet, no. I need a break from Ace Attorney. You have to understand, when I set out to create this YouTube channel, I did not intend to become Mr. Visual Novel with Ace Attorney and Fate's Day Night and God knows stuff like Danganronpa and House in Fata Morgana have been on my slate for years. There's so much to play, so little time. I'm just rambling at this point. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.